Charlie Kirk was impactful. Impactful because of all the things I've said, but look around this place. There's 100-something thousand people here. The President of the United States is here. His entire cabinet is here. Television outlets and media outlets from all over the world are covering this.
Yes, the Secretary of the entire Department of State, former Senator Marco Rubio, yesterday at the extraordinary event in Glendale, Arizona. The memorial service, extraordinary event for an assassinated American. Charlie Kirk, the President of the United States, his widow, and as you heard, police say about 200,000 people, more than the number of people that showed up for the funerals of Martin Luther King, which was a funeral procession with the roads lined with 150,000 people. Maybe 10 times the number of people that showed up for the funeral of Muhammad Ali, the great and amazing Muhammad Ali. A truly remarkable event, an epic event, a historic event. Boy, it was really something. We've got a lot for you on the memorial service yesterday. Not everybody could watch. Not everybody could watch the whole thing. It went on for quite some time. But we've got crazy Democrats because they're not on the side of civilization. They're kind of the uncivil war people. You know, they inflicted the first American Civil War on us because the Democrats loved slavery. Now they love really cheap, illegal alien labor. It's kind of like slavery, but, you know, you don't have to house them or feed them or anything as a rule. So the Democrats haven't changed much. And speaking of Democrats that haven't changed much and slavery, Jasmine Crockett, she's a radical left-wing extremist Democrat member of the House of Representatives, sadly from Texas. Going to have to gerrymander her district out of existence, I think. That sounds like a good idea. She was on with CNN and Dana Bash, you know, of the Democrat Party. And there was some interesting back and forth there, I've got to say. And Jasmine Crockett smearing and slandering Charlie Kirk while his memorial service was ongoing, calling him one of these Confederate relics. He's a Confederate. Keeping in mind the Democrat Party is the party of the Confederate States of America. And Charlie Kirk was not a Democrat. So she got it wrong right away. Jasmine Crockett, not a smart person, not an intelligent person, not a wise person, not a learned person, and a Democrat member of Congress who's a race-baiting beep, expletive deleted. Amazing stuff. So, and she voted against, as did a great many Democrats in the House of Representatives, a resolution honoring the life of Charlie Kirk. Jasmine Crockett wrote against it because she misunderstands everything that she consumes. It's the old Beatles lyric, you know, living is easy with eyes closed, bump, 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 misunderstanding all you see, bump, bump, bump. And that's Jasmine, that's a way of life when it comes to Jasmine Crockett. Pretty amazing stuff. But you could just look at some snippets of headlines and be as stupid as Jasmine Crockett is. If you don't read and you don't learn and you have no interest in being honest, and those phrases all apply to Jasmine Crockett, most certainly. Now, the widow of the assassinated individual here, honestly, Charlie Kirk, his wonderful widow, Erica, spoke at his memorial service yesterday. Very emotional. She had a lot to say, covered a lot of territory. Then she came back on stage with President Trump, back and forth. One of the things Erica Kirk said is that she said, I forgive him of the assassin, the man that assassinated her husband, the father of her two little children, a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old. I forgive him. And the Democrats, they're just looking for something to firebomb because they're not on the side of civilization anymore. Remarkable stuff. Also, President Trump, again, he was there for much of the day in basically a skybox. And who joined him there but Elon Musk, his old pal Elon Musk. and they were shaking hands and yucking it up and having a nice time. And it's kind of interesting because Charlie Kirk was asked about this not too long ago, and he said that he believed that President Trump and Elon Musk would reunite soon enough, that they would, whatever their differences were, they'd iron that out, and they'd be fine. So we had that with Elon Musk and President Trump. Kind of an interesting moment in the mix. There were a lot of interesting moments that occurred there yesterday. We're, of course, at 888-630-9625, 888-630-9625. And honestly, according to the numbers, if you like the numbers, production and streaming partners tracked over 100 million overall streams for the tribute to Charlie Kirk. And that's what they know about thus far, but you're going to have to keep collecting and see what's happening overseas and elsewhere. Saying that Andrew Colvett, saying that the number in the end will likely be much larger than the 100 million people that watched online. And while CNN didn't carry it, right? They didn't carry. They dipped in here and they said, "Oh yeah, we got this going on here," but that kind of annoys us. Let's get back to promoting that communist in New York City who's running for mayor. We got to come on. Why aren't you supporting him? I demand to know. You've got to support the commie and the Democrats and the media. But I repeat myself, they're all pushing for that. But it was a memorial service for a murdered husband and father of two, and social leader, and a person of faith, of Christian faith. Democrats love jihadis. They love the jihad against Western civilization, but they don't like Christians that are observant. And Charlie Kirk, very definitely an observant and practicing Christian until he was assassinated by a Democrat who murdered him. And you know how they are, those Democrats. They do a lot of that sort of thing. But yesterday, it was hours long, and maybe 100 million people, you look at all the streaming numbers and everything else, listening to the gospel of Jesus Christ for, it went on, I believe, for about 4 hours. And the Democrats can't stand that. And MSDNC, the MS-13 people on cable, they obviously can't stand it either. But it was a major cultural event in the United States of America yesterday. If you missed it, I'm sure there are all kinds of ways to watch. And we'll share, online, thanks to Al Gore's amazing internet and the patriarchy and all of that good stuff. But the events of yesterday, big, culturally significant. CNN buried it. MS-13, DNC buried it. I didn't even see what the commercial entertainment networks did last night on their evening news broadcast, and I'm sure they're smearing everyone today, and I honestly don't doubt that for a moment. I was watching it with my best girl, and I said I fully expect, and I do fully expect, that Erica Kirk will be smeared and slandered in the cable news world and on that late-night TV, to the extent that there's late-night TV. Speaking of which, a lot of the ABC stations were supposed to be airing on Friday night in the Jimmy Kimmel time slot, supposed to be airing an homage to the assassinated Charlie Kirk. And turns out that a lot of the stations did not. They decided at the last minute, I guess, 9 minutes before it was supposed to air, the Charlie Kirk event did not air on the Sinclair stations, a great many Sinclair stations. Sinclair moves Charlie Kirk special to YouTube instead of taking over Kimmel's slot, as had been promoted and advertised, and I hit my DVR to record it in that time slot. And then the Sinclair stations apparently changed their minds, and without explanation, as far as I know. That was rather peculiar, I've got to say. And lots and lots of Democrats, from rank-and-file miscreants and gender deviants and all that, members of Congress smearing Charlie Kirk over the weekend, because that's the kind of filthy people that they are. Democrat members of Congress, too. But it was Blair White on X, which I like to call Twitter, said, "No one is requiring you to mourn Charlie Kirk. They're asking you to not be a satanic piece of beep who celebrates brutal murder, which millions of Democrats are doing here because they're the left. They're not liberals. And Blair White continued, the bar couldn't be lower, and it's still too high for millions of you. Sick. And I've got to say that sums it up pretty well. Also, did you see the Democrat woman outside of the memorial service in Arizona yesterday shouting at people that were going in, normal people, healthy people, and a young woman who could skip a meal sat outside with a big homemade sign which she covered in what is supposed to be blood across the top of the large cardboard sign, maybe 2 foot by 3 foot cardboard sign. And she's out there screaming she saw a pregnant woman, and she screamed, I hope your baby dies, at her, because she's a Democrat. And that's what Democrats do. That's where the Democrat Party is in 2025. They're friends of no one. They truly are amazing people. And the sign, well, I'll share the contents of the sign with you shortly. But, a couple of people responded. A man responded, I think he became upset. Would you say he became upset? Because this Democrat woman, and that's all you can say about her, she's a Democrat, probably gender fluid, hasn't decided what her sexuality is. And she covered her sign in what's supposed to be mock blood and attacking people that attended the ceremony. And honestly, you just have to shrug and say, this is what the Democrat Party has done to millions of people. Isn't that amazing? Also, the media is still pretending to be outraged by the suspension by ABC News having nothing to do with the federal government. They're still very upset that Jimmy Kimmel has been suspended because he's a lunatic, bloodthirsty Democrat Party propagandist. And the ABC network and Sinclair stations and other stations decided that they didn't want any more of this. And so he's been suspended, and he's going to have to take his $50 million and go home, I guess. They're going to keep paying him for months and months and months, though. The $16 million a year that he's currently being paid to do propaganda for the Democrat Party. No conservative in the United States of America is paid $16 million by any television network to spread conservative propaganda. That doesn't happen. And that ought to be considered a problem at the highest levels of American government and media, and at the dinner table, too. But never mind that. Now, over the weekend, the Democrats, they vilified ABC because ABC suspended Jimmy Kimmel. And so ABC's the bad guy, not Jimmy Kimmel, who said the assassin was a right-wing MAGA Trump supporter, which is the biggest lie you can tell. And the Democrats are fine with that. Hitler was a Jewish midget. No, I don't think that's true. But because the Democrats, and entirely because the Democrats vilified ABC over the Jimmy Kimmel bloodthirsty thing, the headline is, shots fired at ABC affiliate by suspected leftists after network pulls Jimmy Kimmel. The Daily Wire has the story. The suspect's social media feed is reportedly full of far-left rhetoric encouraging escalation, because that's what the Democrats do. Now, this is just perfectly ordinary, normal stuff, political violence by the left, shooting places up and targeting a television network in this case because Jimmy Kimmel was suspended. So you got to, and here are the bullet holes through the front window of the ABC station. A man has been arrested after firing multiple shots at a window of an ABC News affiliate in Sacramento, California. Couldn't happen in a nicer state. Following the network's decision to pull late-night host Jimmy Kimmel after he lied about the assassination of 31-year-old Charlie Kirk. And so the Democrat behavior persists. They need medication. They really need medication. Pretty amazing stuff. And they got a Democrat senator named Chris Murphy. He lies about everything. He's a psycho. He's a pathological liar. But when he's on ABC and when he's on CNN, nobody calls him on his obvious lies that any news person would be aware were lies. But never mind that. Amazing stuff. Yeah, we're just becoming a banana republic, he says, with two standards of justice. Yeah, I noticed that a number of years ago. Where were you? I've been calling that out for quite some time, so-called senator. 888-630-9625. Yes, a Democrat also shot up a country club in New Hampshire over the weekend at a wedding, yelling "Free Palestine," which means he's a Democrat. They're all like the Gestapo, the Nazi Party. This is their rhetoric, isn't it? Free Palestine. Was it a Jewish country club? Because you know how the Democrats are. ICE agents looking at a 1,000% increase in assaults because of the Democrat Party. A country club in New Hampshire attacked by a gunman, shooting the place up, murdering one, wounding two more, yelling "Free Palestine" because of the Democrat Party. A woman outside of the Charlie Kirk Memorial Service yelling, "I hope your baby dies," to a pregnant woman walking by because of the Democratic Party, because that's the Democrat Party today. Let's go to the telephones, Michael. And I'll have more detail for you on all that. And shooting up the ABC station in Sacramento because of the Democrats. Let's go to Erica, calling from Winchester, Virginia. Erica, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Thank you so much, Chris. I just wanted to say I was watching the memorial service yesterday, and I was watching an ABC station. Now, I live streamed, so I don't know which one it was. However, when Erica had said that as she was looking at Charlie's face, and he had a slight smile on his face, a slight smile, like an upturn of the corners. When it finally cut back to the anchor, he said, and Charlie had a smirk on his face. Smirk is what he said. I was absolutely outraged. I was yelling at my TV. Now, I live alone, so nobody heard me. But I can verify I was yelling at the TV. That is not what she said. From what I understand, a lot of people who are called home to our Father may have a smile on their face in their last breath, in their last moments. But, I don't know that for sure. But it was definitely not a smirk. I was so mad.
That's our news media, and this is why they're so admired and loved and trusted and appreciated, isn't it?
Oh, I know. And, I just don't get this. I don't understand this. I've been here for so many decades, and I don't understand all of this intolerance from the tolerance side.
Right.
They're anything but. So I just wanted to let you all know about that. Thank you so much, Chris. I'll let you go back to your program.
Well, thank you very much. You are our program right now. That's a wonderful call. I thank you for your call. And I can sense a smile on your face talking to you. Yes. So the Democrats. Let's see the Democrats over the weekend. I was marveling that there was no violence at the memorial service, which I expected the Democrats to provide. They did have a young woman sitting outside screaming at a pregnant woman, "I hope your baby dies," with a sign drenched in fake blood, and she not a good neighbor, I think, not a good daughter, not a good person, but a pretty ordinary Democrat at this stage of American history. But the Democrats, what else did the Democrats do over the weekend? They did that, of course, it's a memorial service for Charlie Kirk, who was assassinated by the Democrats for being pro-American and Christian, a church-going person. And they'd kill Billy Graham today. The Democrat Party would, but and attacking him as racist. And I actually did some research on one of the racist claims that the Democrats were hurling about a comment he made about black airline pilots. And they were talking about DEI at airlines and, affirmative action. Choose this guy because he's black instead of this guy because he's qualified. Could be the same black guy, but because he's qualified, never mind that. The Democrat Party, they're not well. And the Democrats shot up the ABC station in Sacramento, California, because Jimmy Kimmel was suspended, so a Democrat had to go out and start shooting with probably somebody else's rifle, like the assassin of Charlie Kirk, using, I guess, his grandfather's rifle. I think it was his grandfather's rifle. He was concerned his father would be angry if he didn't return his grandfather's rifle. These people not really good at being self-reliant and independent, are they? No, they're not. And then, of course, the Democrats shooting up the country club in New Hampshire, killing one, wounding two more, while yelling, free Palestine, because that's what they do. Because they're on the side of the jihad, the genocidal death cult that is the global jihad, the Democrat Party. They've been in bed together going way back. You can even go, I was texting with my friend Matthew Foldy this morning back and forth about this, and you can go back to 1972 and the Munich Olympics, Munich, Germany Olympic massacre perpetrated by a radical Islamic jihadi group on Israeli athletes, and they were demanding the release of left-wing terrorists in Germany that had been held in the jihadis were. Black September was their name. They just keep morphing, but they remain the same. They come up with new names. The Democrats do the same thing. They stand down an organization, then reopen it again on Monday. The same desks, the same phones, the same light switches, but a different name. It's a cover story, you know. And Kristi Noem, Secretary Kristi Noem at ICE, saying that ICE agents are facing a 1,000% increase in assaults, and that's because of the Democrat Party. 100% on the Democrat Party. Shooting up the ABC affiliate, 100% on the Democrat Party and their rhetoric. The funeral for Charlie Kirk, 100%. The assassination of Charlie Kirk, 100% on the Democrat Party. Shooting up the country club, killing one, wounding two others, and then the gunman was overpowered by people at the country club, by normal people that overpowered the creepy, psycho, free Palestine yelling Democrat while he shot and killed one person and shot and wounded two more because of the Democrat Party's rhetoric. That's 100% unambiguously where all of this comes from. All of it. The assaults on ICE agents, the mass shooting at the country club at a wedding in New Hampshire, Democrat Party. The shooting up the ABC affiliate in Sacramento, Democrats. The screaming, I hope your baby dies, to a pregnant woman walking by on her way to a memorial service. On her way to a memorial service. And that's your Democrat Party. Because they're not what the Democrat Party used to be. As Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said a while back, his father and his uncle, Robert F. Kennedy Sr., the assassinated senator, and his uncle, John F. Kennedy, president, both assassinated by people that are closer on the political spectrum to the Democrat Party today. The assassins from back then are Sirhan. And look at the Democrat Party where they are on the political spectrum. They're anti-Israel and pro-Hamas, pro-Iran. Sirhan, still alive and well, living in a jail in California, is kind of a mainstream Democrat now. And he was granted parole by the parole board in California a couple of years ago, but they haven't released him yet because they don't even make good on that. And, of course, much closer to Lee Harvey Oswald, who killed John F. Kennedy on the political spectrum, than they are to John F. Kennedy, who was assassinated. But pay no attention to that. So we've got that. Now we've got a lot of audio that I want to share with you. You know, you've got the lady screaming that your baby should die. This is outside of the memorial service. I don't have the woman's name handy. I know there have been requests to identify the woman, and the Democrats and the news media, they're on the side of the crazy woman. Isn't it amazing? So how much? I mean, you guys. Honestly, I've been saying this for a long time, and Democrats shouldn't be allowed to legally own firearms. It should be on the NICS check, the background check, when you go to get your background check from the FBI when you buy a firearm, which happens to everybody that buys a legal firearm in the United States. But they should ask if you're a registered Democrat, and if you are, then we should say, no, I'm sorry, you're no longer legally entitled to own a firearm, because you're a Democrat. You're a registered Democrat, honestly. So here's the Democrat lady outside of the memorial service yesterday in Arizona for Charlie Kirk. And there are people walking by, nice people, normal people, family people, including a pregnant woman. And here is the Democrat lady who looks a little bit punk rock and a little bit overfed, and she's got a nasty sign.
She said,
I hope your baby dies.
oh my God, that was so tough.
I hope your baby dies.
I can't believe she just said that. I can't believe she just said that to that girl. Oh, she right here for
One man became rather upset, and he cursed a little bit. We beeped it for you there. But, Clinton, what the heck are you talking about? He said to this woman. What the heck are you talking about? But a nice lady who's pregnant with child because she's a woman, and women are birthing people. Men are not, although the Democrats are a little confused about that. Delete a little. They're extremely confused about that. But this woman she decided to spend her day going to the Charlie Kirk memorial service so that she could yell at pregnant women, I hope your baby dies, because, that's where the Democrat Party is. You know what they call more than 1 million abortions in any given year? They call it choice. They give out awards, the Margaret Sanger Award. Yeah, and this woman, so there she is. She's that's what the Democrats have done. The Democrats got the ABC station in Sacramento shot up. The Democrats got someone murdered and 2 more people shot at a country club in New Hampshire. The Democrat Party has overseen and promoted a 1,000% increase in assaults against ICE agents. It is all on the Democrat Party. And the Democrat Party leadership comes out and they scream at you and they call you the worst names in the book. And it doesn't matter how many people get shot because they're the Democrats. They're the left. The only thing, and it was Erica, they're talking about the intolerance. And I was reminded of the French leftists in the 1960s, which came up with a slogan, the only thing not to be tolerated. So you tolerate everything, right? The only thing not to be tolerated is intolerance. See, because that makes sense when you're a leftist, and no sense of irony. And they use the words, but they don't know what they mean. There's all these sayings that I've come up with over the year. Over the years, they just become more and more true as the Democrats, their minds deteriorate, I guess is what it is.
I hope your baby dies.
I hope your baby dies. You heard the nice lady gasp there. She just gasped out loud. I'm sorry, you just said that to a pregnant woman walking by. And, yeah, that's the Democrat Party. And they'll laugh. And, again, a million dead babies. They harvest their organs every year. And they feel like Dr. Mengele would, because his Socialist Workers' Party in Germany, they also killed a lot of people. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Amazing stuff. Yeah, and the Democrat Party, they're losing their mind. MSDNC this morning is going to town saying that the President Trump is urging his Attorney General Pam Bondi to go after his political enemies. No, urging him to go after senior people that in the government that break the law and obviously break the law, like the prosecutor in New York that targeted President Trump and abused her power and on and on and on. I mean, again, President Trump was targeted by a sniper and shot. President Trump was canceled on all social media. This is the Democrat Party again, shooting President Trump's suicide attack, killed by a Secret Service counter sniper. And never mind this, the Democrat Party, they promote, they spread, they create the hatred and the violence because that's who they are. They're the Democrat Party. 2025. All right, Michael, I should go back to the telephones. I know I'm going to get to President Trump at the memorial service yesterday, and to the widow, who everybody keeps calling her Charlie's wife, now widow, Erica Kirk. She was quite powerful, and she spoke for some time. J.D. Vance was there, and he was wonderful, and he really was. We've got a lot of good audio from the events. Marco Rubio, crazy liberal outside. I hope your baby dies, because they love death more than we love life. And that, by the way, is the old Al-Qaeda slogan, but now it applies to the Democrat Party. They're really something. And Jasmine Crockett with her pal Dana Bash posing as a news anchor on CNN, a former news network. That was quite remarkable. The Democrats and Jasmine Crockett. And yet everybody's a Confederate relic, and everybody's racist, according to Jasmine Crockett, who's the number one racist in the conversation, no doubt about it. So I've got those things coming up for you. Truly remarkable times we're in. Democrat Party. Gavin Newsom in California is demanding that no law enforcement wear masks to conceal their identities from human traffickers, drug traffickers, foreign drug cartels, human trafficking cartels, these cartels that kill thousands of people a year in their home countries. And now the Democrats have imported those cartels to the United States by way of their open border policies, because the Democrats, more Democrats, more crime, more Democrats, more murder, more Democrats, more illegal alien gang members in your daughter's locker room at junior high school. Aren't they amazing? Yeah. And Dana Bash going after the Lizard King, Chuck Schumer, because he has not yet endorsed Mamdani the commie, who the media are promoting because they want to see an end to the United States of America. The left is here. They've been indoctrinating and brainwashing for decades now. And, I'm watching the tear gas clouds in Illinois over the weekend because the violent Democrats are out there in mobs. And the idiot governor there, who had inherited billions of dollars from his forebears, who actually worked hard and were smart people, even though he's not. Must be a recessive gene. All right, let's grab a phone call, Michael. Let's go to Susie, calling from Sterling, Virginia. Susie, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Yes. Oh, thank you, Chris, for taking my call. I just let me say that I was on your Alaska cruise with my husband, and it was the highlight of our life. Anyway, so thank you for that.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So I just wanted to, comment about how wonderful it was watching, Charlie's memorial service. Yeah, very emotional, but at the same time, I was just so thankful to hear the gospel preached by almost every single person who spoke, and not clergy, not professional evangelists. Everybody just would just explain the gospel in so many beautiful ways, and it was just so inspiring. And so I'm just on this amazing, wonderful, and it's having an effect on my grandchildren, especially one of my grandchildren, Tasha, and it's just so wonderful to see that this man's voice could not be snuffed out, and now it's going to be magnified.
Well, and I believe that you're 100% correct about that, and you said so many nice things. I'm kind of stunned. I'm flabbergasted, but very, very nice, very sweet of you to say them. But Tasha is your granddaughter who's being particularly affected. Yes. That's wonderful, and a great name, a wonderful name. And I've got to say, Susie, you are not alone. They're again, the organizer is saying 100 million people streaming it.
100 million people.
Right.
I know that is
getting
unbelievable.
Getting a dose of Americana and of Christian faith yesterday, and no wonder the Democrat media ran from it like they had just firebombed it with Molotov cocktails, which they normally do. Susie, wonderful call. Great to hear your voice.
One more thing really, really quick, and that is, Chris.
Yeah. Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so just like, I know that you are, kind of trying to, say that all these people on the left, they're loons, they're lunatics, they're crazy. We need to start calling it out. It's evil. Just say evil.
That is, I'm glad you said that too, and that's in one of our sound bites today as well. Thank you, Susie. God bless. Wonderful call.
We will defeat the dark. We will prevail over the forces of wickedness and evil. They cannot imagine what they have awakened.
Ah, yes, evil. See, Susie asks and we deliver. That was Stephen Miller yesterday at the memorial service in Arizona. Stephen Miller of the Trump White House. And he is tenacious. He is ferocious. And look, Susie and Stephen Miller, you're onto something there. You know, this is, honestly, how many people have to be shot? How many TV stations and country clubs and thought leaders and presidential candidates have to be shot by the Democrat Party before we call them out? And they're the forces of organ harvesting a million children a year and giving out the Margaret Sanger Award. Who do you think shooting all the people in? What we looked at? You looked at Chicago, right, for the weekend, and this is every crime committed in Chicago. You might as well just score it right now. Every crime committed in Chicago is committed by a Democrat. You know, we have, 12,000 African Americans died of murder last year in the United States. And they go around with their Black Lives Matter T-shirts and their Black Lives Matter signs in their front yards. And don't say a word about that, but apparently they mean drug-addicted career criminals who die while resisting arrest and have a heart attack because of all the fentanyl and methamphetamine in their system. That life matters because, you know, they burned city after city after city, killed dozens, injured thousands, billions in property damage because George Floyd died of cardiac failure while resisting arrest. But that's nothing that you should concern yourself with, right? Yeah, what's going on in Chicago now? The early results from Chicago are in. Chicago weekend shootings leave 4 dead, 22 wounded. 4 dead, 22 wounded. Baghdad had a quieter weekend. That's not a joke. It's the Democrats.